Imagine this. You walk into a room full of people you've never met before. As soon as you introduce yourself, someone says, I've heard about you. How would that feel? That's the power of a strong personal brand, speaking for you even before you say a word. Now, think about it. What do people say about you when you're not in the room? Whether you realize it or not, you already have a personal brand. The question is, are you shaping it or is it shaping you? In today's hyper competitive world, both online and offline, personal branding isn't optional, it's essential. Whether you're an entrepreneur building your business, a coach growing your coaching practice, or a professional climbing the corporate ladder, the way you present yourself directly impacts the opportunities you attract. And in a world where people form opinions in just 7 seconds, first impressions matter more than ever. Today, we'll dive into how to build an influential brand that attracts opportunities. I'll walk you through my brand framework, a proven strategy to help you create a brand that stands out, is memorable, and attracts the right opportunities. If you're excited in here, type in a +1. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, before we dive in, let me ask you, what's one word you would like people to associate with your personal brand? Drop in the comments here. For me, oftentimes I hear the word authentic, passionate, connector. Let me know what's that word that people use to describe you or you want to associate with. All right. Hello and welcome. I am so delighted that you're here. I'm your host, Diana YK Chan, LinkedIn top voice, LinkedIn learning instructor, and founder of My Marketability. I've been recognized as Canada's top personal branding expert 2 years in a row, where I'm known for helping you differentiate your unique brand, build a strong network, and communicate your value with confidence. If we're not connected yet, make sure to follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and on YouTube. All right, so let me just say a quick hello to see who is here today. Hi, Anita. So great to have you here. Welcome, welcome. We are live right now on my LinkedIn and my YouTube channel as well. So feel free to engage with me today. All right, great. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so I'm going to kick off with why personal branding is important. Okay, why personal branding is important. You've probably heard that personal branding is important, but why does it matter in today's world? Okay, let's start with some eye-catching statistics here, eye-opening ones. 85% of the hiring managers and clients make decisions based on someone's online presence before meeting them in person. The second one here is over 70% of professionals believe that branding is crucial for career growth, according to a LinkedIn study. 82% of consumers are more likely to trust a company or individual whose leadership has an established personal brand. These numbers show that perception is reality. People are making judgments about who you are based on how you present yourself, both online and offline. One of my favorite saying is that you have the upper hand when you have an influential brand because you are more in demand. This is one of my things to live by here, that you have the upper hand when you have an influential brand because you are more in demand. Okay. So the business case for personal branding is really simple. It helps you stand out from the crowd, build trust, and position yourself as a go-to expert in your field. In a world right now where competition is fierce and attention spans are short, a strong intentional brand is what sets you apart and keeps you top of mind for the right opportunities. All right, if you are excited to learn about personal branding today, type in a +1. And I want to welcome you. I see more of you are joining us today to learn how to build an influential brand that attracts opportunities. This is a topic that I'm so passionate about. I've been talking about for over a decade now. And this is one of my most popular talks I always get asked by companies and organizations and nonprofits to speak about here. So let me share with you a little bit about how personal branding has really helped me in my career and business. So when I started to intentionally focus on building my brand, this was back in like 2011, 2012 when I started my business. I really doubled down on this because to me, that's part of your reputation. And what I've seen in this past decade, some of the things that have come my way in terms of opportunities, I call them like unexpected opportunities because of investing in my personal brand. So for example, I've been invited to speak at the United Nations 7 times the last several years. And it was because of my brand and reputation where someone saw me online, recommended me to a client to work with, to support them. She moved back to the headquarters of, the head office there, and then invited me to do the first talk on International Women's Day. And since then, I've just been invited back multiple times. I was named LinkedIn Top Voice in Careers and Job Search back in 2022. And this was when I really started to double down and sharing more of who I am, my story, my imposter syndrome, my challenges growing up back and forth in Hong Kong, Canada. And just by really sharing more, it really connected more with my audience there. The other thing is I became a LinkedIn learning instructor. In the last several years, I have created and launched 11 nano courses with over 55,000 learners globally. And that was something I got invited because someone saw that I had been really growing my brand online, speaking at the UN, and how I got invited through that. I highly recommend you checking out some of my LinkedIn learning courses there. I'm going to share with our QR code here that we have like some of my courses that you can also check out. 11 of them. Some of the course includes personal branding, pivoting your career, increasing your visibility, digital networking, career clarity, storytelling. These are all topics that I have been known for, and I pitch myself to speak about these topics because this is something that I've been asked to speak over and over again. I've also spoken to my largest audience ever this year with over 17,000 people who register for my personal branding talk on the LinkedIn Career Talks show. I was like the biggest audience I've ever had, and it was on branding, how to pivot your career in 2024 with a great personal brand. So that's something I've become known for, and I've been invited back to speak on the LinkedIn Get Hired podcast 3 times, and then being on the CEO's LinkedIn podcast as well as a guest expert on the topic of networking. I've hosted sold out masterminds and luxury business retreats that has attracted high caliber clients the last several years because of my brand reputation. All of these were all through referral clients, referrals there. And I've also had the honor to support some amazing clients this past year. A lot of my career coach clients going from 0 to 20K months. And some of them, I've had the honor to see them really scale their businesses to $1 million businesses. So it's been such a pleasure and honor to do that there. So I want to ask you, how has your personal brand helped you so far in your career or business? Drop in the comment to let me know some of the wins, and I want to cheer you on and celebrate your successes there. Let me see in the comments what we see here. All right. Hey, Saman and Rick, great to see you as well. Great. Welcome to the show on how to build an influential brand that attracts opportunities. All right. So I want to share with you a client success story of how my client, Jean King, built her influential brand on LinkedIn. Really proud of her. She's a prime example of how powerful personal branding can be. So just 20 months ago, Jean decided to focus on building her personal brand on LinkedIn by sharing project management tips and career lessons. This was while she was still working in her full-time job. And she's been really consistent in sharing these tips. And here's what has happened so far as a result of effective personal branding. She's built a following of about 100,000 followers on LinkedIn, grew her newsletter to over 13,000 subscribers, became a 3-time LinkedIn learning instructor with over 140,000 learners globally. Within 6 months of us working together and quitting her corporate job, she built a 6-figure business. That's incredible. She sold out her group coaching program multiple times, built multiple income streams, including digital products, coaching, secured multiple brand partnerships because of strong personal brand. She was also invited to speak at conferences hosted by HubSpot and Notion. Jean was also named the #1 project management creator in the US. And she recently received an invitation to the Asian Creator Awards. So this is a great example of Jean's like dedication to personal branding, of that when you build that influential brand, the opportunities will come find you, right? They'll come find you. And you can really achieve incredible results within such a short period of time, right? Building that six-figure business in the first year is no small feat there. But when you have that strong foundation or brand, that's when things can skyrocket. Okay. Amazing, amazing. So welcome, welcome. So let's talk about what is personal branding. And I'll walk you through some of the common mistakes, and then I'm going to walk you through my framework here. Okay. So the way I like to describe personal branding is like wedding planning, right? What I mean by that is the wedding is like a representation of the couple, right? Their essence of who they are. And it's all about how you want people to experience you. So if I had to define it here, personal branding, the key elements is really about who you are, which means you want to tell your unique story, your experiences, showcase your personality and your style. Number two is how you show up, right? That consistency and visibility of your presence, both online and offline, right? It's that energetic exchange. Like, how do you want to show up matters, right? How you're perceived, the way people see you and the impression you leave behind, right? Going back to the wedding planning, how you want people to experience you, right? Whether you think you have a brand or not, you already do. It's just whether you're intentional about it, whether you're shaping it, or is it shaping you, right? The next personal branding is all about what differentiates you, what sets you apart from others in your field, your industry, your domain. So this is in essence your unique value proposition. This is something that I love doing with my clients, because when you get clear and intentional and knowing what sets you apart, the way you communicate is more compelling, more clear, and you also speak with more confidence and persuasion. And lastly, it's what you bring, right? The knowledge, the skills, and expertise, and what you offer is what makes you valuable to others there. Okay. So let me ask you as well, if you could define your personal brand in one sentence, what would it be? Drop in the comment to let me know. What would it be? And I'm going to give you a guiding sentence to start, right? Start with I'm known for, or what I'm known for, right? So this is like the repetition. So for example, this is where you would think about the sound bites of value propositions, value statements. So for example, for me, I would say, I'm known for helping you differentiate your brand, diversify your income streams, communicate with confidence. So these are value prop statements there. Right? Just build that out of what are you known for of your personal branding. Okay. So feel free to type a chat. I'm going to take a look when you join. All right. Hey, Magdalena, how great to see you. All right. Trust across organization from different units. Amazing. That's great to hear. Yes. Amazing, amazing. Okay, let me see. Is it, I don't know if I pronounced the right name here. Is it from Zealy that you have a LinkedIn group called Supply Chain Women in Warehousing Worldwide? I love that. And your focus is to grow the group. Currently have 100 followers. Amazing, amazing. Good stuff. All right, so let's talk about the common personal branding mistakes. Okay, what are those common mistakes I say? Number one, typically, is that inconsistency, right? There's this misalignment, mismatch of messaging, how you show up, that is confusing to your audience. The second is focusing either too much on the visibility and not the value, right? So this is basically being seen is not enough. It's important, but you want to always add value, right? That's how you consistently stand out and be memorable other, right? And the third is trying to be everything to everyone, right? So a diluted brand won't stand out. It won't resonate with the audience because it's not resonating with the right person there, right? So instead, focus on serving a very specific audience other. And then lastly is neglecting offline branding. So you probably hear a lot of people like branding yourself online, like on a platform like LinkedIn, which is important, but it really, your brand extends beyond the screen, right? How you show up in real life, at work, all the interactions that you have, how you stay in touch with people, how you follow up with people. All those things really matter, right? So I'm curious to hear from you. Like, have you ever made one of these branding mistakes before? Like, if so, which one? Right? And this happens, right? Sometimes we may neglect things, but it's just the first step is to be aware, so that you can also make adjustments to elevate your brand. All right, so let's dive into the bulk of today's session here is all about how to build an influential brand that attracts opportunities. I'm going to walk you through my brand framework, the BRAND framework. Okay, and we're going to talk through things of examples and exercises that you can do. And I would love to hear from you of what is resonating there, and happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so the first is the V, which is all about being authentic, being uniquely you, right? The foundation of any great brand is authenticity, right? People connect with that. Like when you are genuine, that you care, people can feel that, and you attract those opportunities that align with your true self. Your energy becomes magnetic, drawing in what's meant for you, right? So studies have shown this is that true authenticity is more than just being yourself. It's that highest vibrational energy, that frequency that you put out there. It's 4,000 times more powerful than love. So when you lead with that true authenticity, you're actually operating at the highest vibrational frequency, right? So this alignment helps then attract the right opportunities to you and people and circumstances in your life naturally there. Okay, so the universe will respond to that genuine energy, bringing forth these manifestations that are in harmony with your true self. Okay. And this is something I've definitely noticed, like even for myself, the last several years, because I've been really investing a lot in personal development and growth. I've had really experienced some quantum leap transformations in my life. And a big part is really learning to own my voice, my value, my uniqueness, really being me, but being in a way that also feels good to me as well. And as a result, that would attract the right people coming in. Okay. Another example is the few years ago when I started sharing my personal journey of overcoming imposter syndrome, moving to Canada all by myself when I was 16 to overcome like my shyness, the language barrier, the culture shock, all those things, like to become a motivational speaker. That vulnerability really helped connect me to a global audience and working with clients worldwide, right? So by really just talking more about things that I've overcome and how I got to where I am today. And I believe that's what's led me to becoming LinkedIn Top Voice in 2022. Like that was a shift 2021, 2020, when I started doing more storytelling type of content, like really being more me. And the last several years, like really even just embodying it even more there. Okay. So here's my saying is that you become more magnetic when you're authentic. You become more magnetic when you're authentic, right? When you're truly yourself, you attract more magnetic energy there. Okay. So I want to ask you to think about or write down one personal trait or story that defines you. Think about how you can integrate this into your messaging to connect more deeply with your audience, right? And you may have to test it out, right? Sometimes when I work with clients, they're like, oh, that's not a really important story. But you know what? It's a lot of times it doesn't have to be like a wow story. It could be like that comeback story or the challenging story that people learn more about who you are there. And test out telling those stories to see what really resonates with people or experiences that you've gone through that really shaped who you are today, how you think, how you communicate, how you live your life. Those are all great stories. If you feel comfortable, feel free to share it in the comments as well. Like for me, one of the big stories I always share is that the turning point in my life was when I moved to Canada all by myself when I was 16. And that was really to change things for me of having a positive mindset, reading a lot of self-help books, going from a very depressed teenager to someone with having a purpose in life and wanting to help people. That gave me meaning. Like that's part of my anchor story that I tell that shaped who I am today, the work that I do. Or I share the story, like the reason why I'm so passionate about helping people to stand out, to be unique, to be themselves is because I struggled with belonging, struggle like growing up back and forth in Hong Kong. I faced a lot of racism as well. And so for me, I've really learned to embrace my uniqueness and differences. And that's part of my why of why I'm so passionate about helping people to differentiate, to stand out, to own their unique voice, value, and visibility with confidence. There. Yes. Mindset of being able to do hard things. Yes. Yes. Okay. So the next is the R, which is refine your message and audience. This is the second part of the brand formula. So this is all about clarity. Clarity in your messaging and your audience, right? So your message has to be clear across all these different channels, platforms, or the different settings or environment that you're in. Because we're tailoring that to the right audience, people will understand that you're speaking to them. Like who you're speaking to really matters, right? When you understand their needs, their challenges, their aspirations, you can then create your messaging that resonates deeply with them and draws in the right opportunities. So this is similar, like for when you think about whether you are either an entrepreneur or those who are working corporate professionals, because I supported thousands of people in job seeking as well is part of it. You need to understand what are the challenges in the business? Why is this role open? Right. And then how can you position yourself to be the solution provider for them? Right. Similar, if you are an entrepreneur, is really understanding that potential clients' needs there and how your service and offering is the right fit. Okay. So I'll give you an example. When I pivoted from career coaching to business coaching business last year, this was just about a year ago. I really had to refine both my messaging and my audience, right? Because I shifted. I shifted from focusing on helping job seekers, corporate professionals, to helping coaches, experts, business owners, entrepreneurs to address the specific challenges, such as building and scaling a business or growing an online brand. How to optimize their offers and pricing. So a lot of things I had to shift in my messaging and branding. So some of you may have seen already the way I've updated my LinkedIn profile, the content I put out there, the videos has shifted. And it didn't just happen overnight, right? It just started with baby steps a year ago where I wasn't quite sure yet. What I did was start talking more about the things I cared about, more behind the scenes of my business, my lifestyle, and that start attracting the right type of clientele. Or I was testing it as well, like what type of people were coming into my world that wanted to work with me. And once I started working with this new clientele, I started asking, okay, so why did you hire me there? And you gather more insights, you research to understand why do they want to work with you? And a big part, it wasn't just about my business expertise, but it's also about the life and the lifestyle of how I live that people wanted more of that. Like, how do you build a thriving 6 and 7 figure business without burning out, without sacrificing quality time with your kids, right? While giving time for self-care. Like that's like one of the big questions I was getting from the clients that were coming to me there. Okay. And so this is why refining that messaging and getting clear on the audience are really, really important to attract that right kind of people into your world there. Okay. So I want to encourage you as an exercise you can do is write down your target audience and one key problem that they face. How can you tailor your message to speak directly to them and offer a solution? Okay, so think about that target audience, their key challenges, key problems, and then how do you tweak your messaging accordingly there? Okay. So there's a saying is that your message needs to resonate with the right audience. When you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. Right? So getting really, really clear on that. And this is something I need to challenge myself right now too, because for the past decade, I have been serving more corporate professionals. Like right now, I know I have an audience still of people who've been following me for like this past decade are corporate professionals. And then I also have this new audience who are coaches, entrepreneurs, business owners. And so it's such a balance of how do I need to tweak that messaging accordingly. And as I continue to shift in this new area there. Okay. So the third part of the brand formula is add value consistently. So this is all about the more value that you provide, the stronger your brand becomes. And so what I mean by this is that sharing, it's all about sharing your expertise, right? This is a great way to amplify your brand and establish your authority. Whether, and this is like, you can think about sharing expertise online. This is like one of the things, like I would say, as a trend that we're seeing more and more now. And this is why I'm so passionate about this, is because right now I see the shift in the job market. It's a lot more competitive, a lot more layoffs happening, right? A lot more, the job search intensity has rise, right? Like this is like research has shown this, like LinkedIn's done the whole research, the intensity has increased. So building your brand becomes actually more important. And if you want to stand out, it's really first think about how can I start adding value by sharing what you know, sharing your voice, sharing your message, sharing your expertise, right? So whether it's through videos, carousel posts, LinkedIn newsletter, a live stream like this, a podcast, doing like corporate speaking gigs, all these things is going to help you demonstrate your expertise and you're adding value. And as a result of that, you are building trust and you're elevating your credibility. And from there, people would want to think of you for opportunities and possibilities as well. Okay. That's really the key here. Okay. Awesome. So I want to encourage you to think about this is think of one way you can add value to your network this week. It could be sharing an insightful article, offering advice, creating content. Share an idea in the chat. I want to hear about how you can add value. This is one of the common questions I always get asked from clients, like, how do I showcase I'm adding value, right? Besides, if you're not ready to, like, say, post content online, what else? Like, think about little things, right? It could be a voice note. It could be a podcast you came across, a book, anything that's adding value. I remember a couple years ago, this was like 3-4 years ago, I was talking on the show here that I was going camping for the first time. And one of the listener heard this, and I was sharing how it's my first time. And she sent me a list of things, of tips, what to pack. And it just happened she's been to that campsite as well, gave me some ideas of things to do. I really appreciate that. That is adding value. So it doesn't have to just be work related. It could be even if like traveling is a great one. You know, if you know someone is traveling to a place that you've been before or it's in your hometown, you can recommend things to do, restaurants to check out, and people are going to really appreciate that, right? That's how you build a know, like, and trust factor there. Okay. Adding value. I'm really big on this. Like, I'm all about give before you get, before you take. Because the more you give, like I have this thing called Pay It Forward Fridays, right? Every Friday, I'll think about some things I can do to pay it forward to my network. So, for example, it could be sending someone a voice note to let them know I'm thinking about them. Send them an article or a post I came across to let them know, like, this is something we've been talking about. Or it could be I make introductions. I love making introductions to people in my network. And, you know, if I think that there are collaboration opportunities that they can help each other out, I'll facilitate that introduction there. So just building the habit of paying it forward. And when you continue doing more of that, you have a very strong network, which then ties into my next part of the formula, N, network intentionally. Network intentionally, right? Because building a personal brand, it's not just about showing off, right? It's also about building quality relationships. Because when you think about it, like, to track these opportunities, a lot of these things have to happen through people, right? There's a saying, everything happens through people, right? So having a strong network will help open doors to new opportunities, collaborations, and growth. Okay, so you want to be essentially top of mind with your network so that when there's an opportunity, they'll think of you. Right? It's staying top of mind, right? So there's a saying that goes that your network is your net worth. Stay top of mind and opportunities will find you, right? Like, this is something I've really doubled down. Like, when you think about doubling down on your brand with networking or relationship building, like, those possibilities are endless. And I'll give you an example. So for me, like, by staying top of mind and being known for my domain expertise, I've been featured on LinkedIn's Get Hired podcasts 3 or 4 times now, where I talk about branding, networking, interviews. I've also been featured on the LinkedIn CEO's podcast as a guest expert. So, meaning they interviewed another CEO and wanted my take on the topic of networking and building your board of advisors, right? Very specific. But it's because I've built that domain expertise where I talk about it all the time, or I'm demonstrating it, how I'm building my network and paying it forward all the time. And that's what led me to having my biggest talk this year on LinkedIn Career Talks on how to build your brand and pivot in 2024 with the largest audience I've had to date. And so it's all these things that add up as you build your brand. Okay. So I want to encourage you as an exercise is identify 1 or 2 people in your network to reconnect with this week. Check in with them, reach out, offer something of value, whether it's a compliment, a referral, or showcasing support. Something I love to do as well as an exercise is every quarter, and this is a good time right now, we're in Q4 of 2024, is to look at the people that you really want to either stay in touch with, reconnect with, to really nurture those relationships. Because when you think about it, you have to spend time, right? To really build a strong network, you have to make the effort and spend time. So for me, like I usually have my Fridays like no meetings where I leave it for either like a lunch meeting or, sending voice notes, getting on some phone calls. And that's a great way to reconnect with people. And so you can really map out a strategic plan of the type of people that you want to meet to spend more time with. Right. So the way I like to think about it, like being a business owner, is I think about also like who are the people I really want to build. I consider like my power partners, right? Those where we continue to refer each other business, to lift each other up, to help us think bigger and dream bigger. Those are what we call my power partner, like friends in my community. And I'll really make an effort to, whether it's giving them a call, sending a voice note, driving, like making a road trip to see them and their family, like at least like once a year or once every 6 months. It's really making time to nurture that, because that's how you really build strong relationships. And then there are people who, could be what I call strategic partners who could help you open doors. So for example, like I knew during my pivot and transition from career coaching to business coaching, I needed to not only refer a lot of career coaching clients to other people. So I wanted to meet other coaches that I get to know in their program that I trust to recommend. And at the same time, I also wanted to continue to help more people. So I knew I wanted to create more LinkedIn learning courses. And so it was important for me to nurture that relationship, right? To really nurture that, pay it forward by also advocating, recommended other coaches. That's great for becoming a LinkedIn Learn instructor. So over time, you build that brand and reputation, someone who wants to help each other out there. Okay. I'll tell you something. Networking is one of those topics. A lot of my clients, job seekers as well, who it's like one of the biggest challenge. So I'm curious to hear like what are the challenges when it comes to even networking from you, and we can talk about that together. Like most people find it awkward, or they find that it feels weird to ask for help. But really, it's all about showcasing curiosity, right? I have this saying. It's called my ABC rule of networking: is always be connecting, always be curious, always be cultivating. That's my ABCs. Always be connecting, always be curious, always be cultivating, as you never know what opportunities may come your way. Okay, so the last is the D, deliver results. Last is the D. So if you're here, type in a +1. If this is resonating with you, type in a +1. I want to see who is still here with me. Here, this is the last D of the brand formula on how to build an influential brand that attracts opportunities. And it's all about delivering results. Delivering results. Your brand is solidified by the results you deliver. It's not enough to just talk about your value. You need to show it, prove it, right? Because results are what build your reputation. Consistently delivering value to your clients or your employer build credibility. Right. So I'll give you an example, like a very powerful example. All right. I see a lot of you here. +1. There you go. Sindo. Is it Harsmanran? Joseph, G, Wanda, Magdalena, Vesna. Oh, great to see you. Anita. Amazing. So great to see many of you here today. Amazing, amazing. Awesome. Melissa, okay, I see you. Thank you for typing a +1 here that this is resonating. I'm going to share with you an example. Like, this is why results matter, because it really at the end is going back to your reputation. Um, Two examples to share with you this year. One of my clients went from struggling to making sales. Like, she was getting leads but not closing. She was about to give up, throw in the towel, close her business, hired me, we'll work together. Within 6 weeks, she went from 0 to 20K months of working together. Right? That's huge. And now that's been like consistent. Another one was one of my executive clients who I provided interview coaching, where he landed a CEO position at a billion-dollar company. And the way I got the opportunity was through another former client who I worked with over a decade ago, 10 years ago. Talk about this. 10 years ago, who has been seeing me really doubling down on my brand the last several years and adding value, right? Recommending me to work with this client. And so when you think about this, is results like this builds trust, generates referrals, recommendations, right? That's how you consistently stay top of mind, right? And so this is why it's so, so important for those, whether you are in your business or corporate professional, you want to think about your track record of success. And you want to also get what we call your loyal either advocates, fans, supporters to have a glowing testimonial or endorsement, right? I always suggest people to collect those testimonials, get them on to your LinkedIn recommendations, because those will stay on. You can turn it off if you like, but it's a great way to track and get those testimonials, right? And when you think about it, it's like when we go choose a restaurant, like how many times you may look at Yelp and look at the reviews before you decide on choosing that restaurant. It's similar. Whether someone chooses to hire you or not, a big part is going to be part of your reputation, the results that you deliver, what people say about you. So you want to gather these glowing reviews to leverage that, right? And have a strong track record of success of what you can deliver. It's the proof. It's the evidence of support, right? So there's a balance between what people say about you in terms of your quality of who you are, which is great, but also what we call the track record of success, which is where we call the tangible numbers, right? What are those metrics of success there, of helping people, right? It's a balance of both. So I want to encourage you is to do an exercise to think of either a recent result you've achieved, whether for yourself, for a client, or a team. How can you use that result to strengthen your personal brand, right? Or even just do a list of all your proud accomplishments, right? What can you do to start talking about them in meetings, in online, to really showcase your expertise and skill set and what you bring to the table? Okay, this is something I want to encourage you to really double down on, especially in today's competitive market. It's not just what you say, but what people say about you, right? Going back to what I shared at the beginning is, what do people say about you when you're not in the room? Right? What's that reputation that you have there? Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, so now that I've walked you through the brand framework, let me quickly also recap these key elements, and I'm going to open the floor to questions. We still have time for questions. Feel free to type in for questions here. Let's do a recap, okay, the key elements of the brand framework to help you build an influential brand that attracts opportunities. The first is to be authentic, be uniquely you. Second is to refine your message and your audience. Refine your message and your audience. The third is to add value consistently. Give before you get. The fourth is to network intentionally. Network intentionally. And lastly is the D, deliver results. Okay, so when you think about this, is when you combine authenticity, clarity in your messaging, your unique value, the relationships that you've built, and your results, you create a brand that is magnetic and influential. Okay, so a strong brand isn't just seen, right? It's felt. People can feel that. It's how you create influence and leave a lasting impression. Okay, make that impression count. Whether you're looking for new clients, new leads, looking to stand out at work, or building your business, your personal brand is your most valuable asset. The greater your brand, the greater your market value. This means also your potential in earning more, increasing your revenue and your income there. Okay? And this is how you can start diversifying your income, especially I think in today's market now that's more competitive. Whether you're in a 9-to-5 job or on your business, if you can think of ways to diversify your income, it gives you more security, right? And the part of it is like, how do you intentionally shape your brand image and reputation? Okay. Yes, absolutely. Linda shared that the list of accomplishment can also support becoming more aware of your authenticity. Absolutely, because it's a sign of like, what do you care about, right? Of what do you stand for? What matters to you? Yes, yes. Amazing, amazing. Good, awesome. So if you have any questions, type in the chat to let me know. We'll love to answer any questions that you have. And I want to share with you this too, something that I love talking about because people always ask me, Diana, how do I stand out? How do I really stand out to get more opportunities? That's the big question that I always get. How do I stand out? So I want to share with you this framework that I talk about for years now is the key elements to amplify and elevate. Right. Especially when you even think about branding as well, is like that whole brand image is like what kind of brand, like the image that you want to give, right? A great example is we think about a brand like a luxury brand versus, let's say, the average, like a day-to-day brand, right? And so you want to think about that positioning and branding of how you want to people think about you. And so a few things you can think about is number one is to elevate your marketability, right? So this is all about understanding and communicating your unique value proposition clearly, right? What makes you remarkable is what differentiates you from the competition, right? So this is go back to also doubling down the skills that you have, like elevating your skills to become more in demand and more marketable there. Number two is all about amplifying your visibility and visibility. Okay. You can't be discovered if no one knows you exist, right? You could be the best kept secret, but if they don't know you exist, it's hard for them, for people like to attract opportunity. So this is why it's so important to consistently show up online, offline, whether it's through networking events, speaking engagements, posting valuable content, right? The visibility is gonna help with that value as well, right? And the third is establishing your credibility. This is all about building trust by delivering on your promise and showcasing the results you achieve. Your credibility grows when people see you as reliable and capable. So, this is why it's so important to get those referrals, to get those recommendations, to be seen as that go to expert or that top performer, to be seen as someone who gets things done, right? That they can count on. That's all about that credibility and reputation there. And then lastly, is showcasing relatability, right? People connect with people that they can relate to. This is all about finding that commonality, right? Something in common that they can share. So this is where sharing those personal stories and experiences humanizes your brand and makes it easier for others to trust you. Okay. Amazing, amazing. So we covered a lot today on how to build an influential brand that attracts opportunities. We talked about the importance of personal branding, the mistakes to avoid, how you can use the branding framework to craft a brand that truly stands out. So I want to hear from you. What was your biggest aha or takeaway from today's session? Drop in the comments. I would love to hear it, whether it's a new insight, a strategy, or a plan that you want to implement, or a shift in your mindset. I want to hear from you. What resonated with you there? Type in the comment to let me know. Okay. So remember, building a brand is a journey, right? I've been doing this for the last decade. And like any journey, it's about progress, not perfection. You don't have to get everything right today, but every small step that you take brings you closer to building a brand that opens doors and creates opportunities and new possibilities for you. Okay. So, share with me what your biggest takeaways are. I want to hear from you there. Let me know. And if there are any questions, this is a great time to ask me questions as well. Okay. Let me see. All right. Reflect on a recent experience that showed that what your brand is. Listen to others as they can tell you straight out. Yes, this is a great insight. Like one exercise I love doing is asking people to send out a perception survey of what do people think about you, right? So you can send out a survey to ask people about words they would use to describe you, your communication style, your leadership style, how you add value. Get those insights and then create a word cloud. Create a word cloud to see like what are the things that people use to describe you, and does that resonate? Like, is there an alignment or is there a gap? If there is a gap, then there's something that needs to be done to change that perception, right? It's going back to what is a perception and is that the right perception that you want to portray? If not, what are the adjustments that you want to make there, right? Yes. Let's see here. Let's see, sharing my professional underbelly experience to connect with my audience. Be me. Yes, be me. There you go. Yes, being authentically you here. I like the refine your message and audience, speaking directly to your audience with stories. Yes, that's something I really worked on, like this whole storytelling content. This was back in 2019 or 20. I decided just every day journal after dropping my kids off school. I was just start writing posts and content and stories, and that really helped refine the skill. And so over time, you're going to have an inventory of these content that you can repurpose as well. Right? And you get to learn more about you and also connect deeper with your audience there. Amazing, amazing. Any questions about personal branding? I want to answer any questions since we still have some time today. Feel free to type in the comment there. I still see it in an audience. I want to encourage you to check out my LinkedIn Learning courses that you can see the QR code here. There are 11 learning courses that you can take. There's a course on personal branding that I go, a nano course on that. Digital networking, that's a hot one that I always get asked on digital networking that I recommend. Another popular one is presenting with confidence. So for those who deliver presentations or do speaking, that's a great one to check out there. Another one is mastering your interviews. So for those who are going through interviews to how to sell yourself, that is a great one to check out as well. So yeah, you can go to LinkedIn Learning, type in my name, Diana YK Chan, and the list of courses will pop out. They're completely free. You can just take it from your mobile phone. And if you like them, I want to encourage and ask you to write a glowing 5-star review, share it with your friends, share it with your network, post it on LinkedIn as well. That way we can have more people to benefit this free content as well there. Okay, so let me see. I think there was a question here. What would you consider successful networking on LinkedIn? Okay, what would you consider successful networking? Well, I think it depends on what your goal is, right? What is your goal of networking on LinkedIn, right? And so, if your goal, for example, is you want to build a community, or is it you want to, a lot of times I see people, I want to get a job, I want to get clients. To me, what's considered effective, like instead of using the word successful, I consider what's effective networking and what's not effective networking. Let's start with what's not effective networking. What's not effective networking is when it's transactional, when it's about asking for favors without building trust and rapport. What's not effective is you reach out and you don't follow up and you ghost them, right? Or you meet someone that there's no continuation of that, right? So what's effective is there's this essentially going back to following up, nurturing. I always like to think about how do you take that relationship from online to offline. So the way I think about it is, for example, we start maybe meet through content, right? I meet a lot of people just through commenting, supporting one another. And then we moved into what we call the DMs, slide into the DMs to start that conversation, right? Are you having a good conversation with this person? If there's enough know, like, and trust build, are you moving to the next stage? Potentially have a virtual coffee chat through Zoom, right? A 20-minute, 30-minute chat, right? And if you like this person and want to continue to stay in touch with this relationship, do we move to the next stage, which could be if you're in the same city? Sometimes I've actually flown to different places as well, where you meet people in person for lunch, for dinner, whatever that experience is. I'll give you an example. Like this year, I was in Paris for the third time. And there's this career coach, Sono, that I've been wanting to meet the last several years. And it took us my third time to be back in Paris for us to meet in person. And she didn't live in Paris, so she had to drive to come see me a couple hours. And because we got to know each other online over the years, been on each other's podcasts and live streams, there was already that trusted relationship, right? So she came to see me, right? And she actually stayed with me as well in Paris. So then you move it to that in person, right? I've had friends who we met that we've invited them over for dinner, kids' birthday parties. I've done like road trips to visit like friends as well. So to me, that's what I consider effective networking, or what I call nurturing the relationship, right? Go from someone that you don't really know to someone you become like best friends with. Now, obviously, not everyone is going to become your best friend, right? And you don't expect that. Like, so you need to know like who are the people that you really want to invest more time and energy in, right? That's part of your criteria. Like, who are those people there? Because we only have 24 hours a day. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Let me see what the question. All right. Okay. So the question here, we see how I'm a well-known fashion brand development, how to promote my personal brand in tandem. And so the question is, how do you promote, how to promote your brand while you're in that space, right? Is that what the question is? Okay. So I think one of the things that when you think about promoting it is, to me, it's like talking about your proud accomplishments, your successes, what you know, like within the space of fashion brands, right? Actually, if you go on Instagram, there are so many people who talk about fashion. It's like, what can you talk about, right? The way I think about it is, it's like, what can you talk about to showcase that expertise out there, right? That's part of it. It's about talking about it, sharing it. That's how you elevate it here. Okay. Let's see. Enjoy the short courses on LinkedIn, helpful for a fast-paced society in Singapore. That's so true. You know what? Studies have shown, actually, I heard this from LinkedIn Learning, that more and more people are doing these nano courses, short courses, because people's attention span are shorter and they're mobile friendly, they're quick. All my nano courses, each video is about less than 1 minute long, like 45 seconds. I've intentionally designed it that way. And so people are more likely to complete it, and they're more likely to get the essence, the nuggets of it as well. Right? And so I balance between short form content of nano courses and long form, which is like these live streams that I do as well, to really connect with my audience even further there. So thank you. Oh my goodness. It's great to have a listener in Singapore. Okay. Anything else before we wrap up here? This was such a great, engaging session. Great to see many of you here. Feel free to DM me. I love connecting with people. I want to hear your insights, or even questions that you have that you want me to talk about. Like, that's how I create my show, is based on the common questions people are coming my way to create my show topic as well there. Okay. Let me know if there's any other questions. And the other thing I want to share is, if you want to further brand yourself on LinkedIn, I have a free LinkedIn branding checklist that I'm going to pull out here. Is if you go to my website, to mymarketability.com/checklist, that is, I have a free branding checklist that we can pull out here for you to get access to there. So if we can just put that out on screen, on that free branding checklist, that's a great one to check out here. This branding checklist. Oh, yes, the free branding checklist, mymarketability.com/checklist. That is a great one to check out there. It's like 4 or 5 pages of things that you can do to optimize your LinkedIn profile. I actually recently did a huge training for coaching.com for coaches on how to essentially master LinkedIn to grow their online coaching business. I also have a training on that we can also share, that you can DM me if that's something you're interested in. That we've seen one of the highest rated they've ever seen, like 9.7 out of 10. There, that I was really proud of. So you can see this is a topic that I'm so passionate about talking about, of why branding is so important, especially in today's market. Like, the reason why now, like, I've shifted also to working not only just from job seekers to business owners. Like, I really believe beyond the 9 to 5 opportunities, there are so many possibilities and opportunities out there. And a way to uncover that is through building your brand, especially your online brand, where you can attract unexpected opportunities other. Like, for me to get talks at the UN, the headquarters like being in Rome, and me being here in Canada in Toronto, And it's big part is because of the reach of speaking online other. Okay. And this is why I love doing speaking as well, because the speaking is also a great way to attract new opportunities, whether it's coaching, speaking, consulting, whatever that is there. Okay. Let me see if there are any more questions coming in here. You are welcome. Great session. Okay, amazing, amazing. Thank you, thank you. So I want to leave you with this thought. You already have everything you need to succeed, right? Your story, your voice, and your value are your greatest assets. Okay? The world is waiting for what only you can offer. So go out there and own your greatness and uniqueness, because when you build an influential brand, you don't just create opportunities, you create impact. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you're ready to take the next step and dive deeper into building your personal brand, I invite you to connect with me on LinkedIn or on my Instagram and YouTube for more insights, tools, and support. Together, we'll continue to build a brand that not only stands out, but also transforms lives, including your own. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.